Hey everyone, and welcome back to Schneid's 15 for part 2 of the Monarch restoration. Been a couple weeks now. We're just waiting on this big rocker arm here to get welded up still, but everything's free and turns over. Nothing's really changed since you guys, or since I left off with the last video. I did shorten up the wires a little bit on the buzz coil there just to make it a little bit nicer looking and tuck the wires back in there. I talked to a friend that said I want the timing right at top dead center or just after, so I had to adjust this bolt here and put a washer behind it to make that happen, so that'll be easier for starting it. And the next thing that I had to do before I go to start it up, once I get that rocker arm, is I have to figure out the gas situation. So I did pull off the bottom of the mixer there, and I just pulled it apart because everything was seized. So what I did was I pulled this off, and I actually just welded this little piece of a nail onto the bottom there quick. This goes around here, so I got to get some stuffing for that to seal it. And then this is our check valve. I need stuffing for these fittings because I would like to use the original fittings as well. And this is for our governor, so this is the main thing that's holding us up now. So this piece, it bolts on right here, and what happens is these flyweights, they go out, and these tabs, they push in. So if I pull on this, see how that goes there? So there should be a metal piece that pushes out on here. So as this is spinning around, it pushes out on here, and then this rocker tab pushes in on this piece of metal here, and that's what controls this tab right here from it holds your exhaust valve open so there's no compression, and then it misses, and then once your governor slows down and those come in, that tab comes back out, the exhaust valve can close, so there's compression, the engine will fire. It'll fire as many times as needed to get up to the governor speed until those flyweights come out, and it will apply it. So what's wrong here is I'm missing, as this pulls out, it should be pushing a rod out here. There was no rod in there, so somebody robbed it out of there. What I did find is this, and it's just a rivet shoved in the end. So I think somebody robbed the rod. They shoved this rivet in there to make it look like they didn't steal it maybe. Or this is supposed to be on the end and the rod pushes against it. Either way, we just need this to get this rod back together, get some packing in, and we're ready to fire this sucker up. But if this governor wasn't working, this engine will just keep firing, and it'll fire until it blows itself apart and overspeeds. It'll just keep going. So we'll be careful on that. But anyways, we'll catch you once I get some packing for this, and we'll repack the mixer, the needle, and get to firing this bad boy up. So this shaft in here was broken, or it was missing. I think somebody robbed it, so I took the end of a screwdriver and cut it off. It was the perfect length. Now when my governor comes out, you can see that. Here, I'll push on it. Well, it pushes this tit out right there. So this was missing too. There's a dial so you can crank down on the spring tension. So what I did there was I grabbed the 5/8 bolt, just painted it black for now, and it's supposed to have like a piece that'll go in there with an adjuster in the inside of it so you can dial it in. But anyways, this bolt going up and down adjusts the spring tension, so the more spring tension, more it takes for the governor to push out on there, which holds your exhaust valve open. And then once it slows down, your exhaust valve will come in and lets it fire. So anyways, we're just gonna put this in here, and then this whole assembly's back together. We're just waiting on my piece to get welded here. I talked to my buddy today. He figures that he will get to it now, and then we're ready to fire it up. Okay, it's been a month or so. I've been working for my friend here since I'm laid off from my boat mechanic job. I got a job doing some carpentry with him. Starting to like it. Anyways, we got a couple fittings here, just brass fittings to do my fuel up. I can't find packing for the intake still, so we got the fuel line issue solved, but I just got to get some packing or stuffing, whatever you want to call it, for around to seal the mixer. Otherwise, it's ready to go. Thanks to my good friend Jake, that's been really helping me with this stuff. These guys, they eat, sleep, and breathe these old engines, you could say. So he's been helping me with stuff, and he suggested to pull a spring off of the governor in case it was set to run too fast. I got this bolt here loosened off all the way, but I really don't want it to run too fast, so I'm gonna pull this one slipped out, but I'm gonna pull this spring off of here, because then the governor will come out quicker and it'll run slower. But what I'm gonna do, since we got this welded up now, I'm just gonna spray some brake cleaner in here and see if it'll fire up on brake clean. And if it does, that's excellent, because then I know it runs, and that's my main goal here. And then I can have time to figure out getting some packing for this and solving that and getting it to run on its own. But if I can get it fired up for a few seconds here, that would be ideal. Okay, so I have adjusted my ignition timing with this bolt here. This comes in contact, grounds it out, and that's what sets my ignition timing for before, after, at top, dead center, whatever you want. I've set it under Jake's recommendation to just a bit after top dead center. It would help to advance it after, but just for starting this thing for the first time in 40 years, you're not going to have to worry about kicking in stuff, because it's going to fire after top dead center and it's going to go the right way. So we're going to see if it'll fire up. All I'm going to do is shoot a bit of brake clean in the intake here and see if it fires. If it wants to run away, if my governor setup with my rod and stuff isn't right, I'm just going to take the wire off of the ignition and it'll slow down. So we are about ready to go. I'm just going to open up my oiler here and give everything a shot. Quick shot of oil. A few holes around here that won't hurt to oil, since it's been at least 40 years since my grandpa got this going. So get the bearings, a little bit of grease in here. There we go. Taking it nicely. Alright, we got some oil in there. I'll open up my petcock here. We're just going to give her a shot in intake here, because it's just easier than gas. I'll bring it over to where it should fire, and you guys will hear it. So right there it's firing. That's exhaust. Next one will be intake, so we'll give her a bit of fuel. All right, see what we can do. These rubber gloves do help. Cool. That was pretty good. Let's get some air in here. Woo!